Konnichiwa. I'm Susan Wojcicki. I'm the VP responsible for our AdWords and AdSense and all of our advertising products. And I hear a lot of you are advertisers with Google, so thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be here today. So that video brings back a lot of memories for me. I was just saying I actually lived that video. I've been at Google for 11 years, so I've been there since the very beginning. And when I first started at Google, actually when I first heard about Google, this is what Google looked like. This was Google. Google was Sergey Brin and Larry Page, who are both in this picture, who were graduate students. And as you can see, they didn't have a very fancy office. Their first office was a garage, which has been featured a couple of times in the videos and in the stories. And they worked in the garage, and I lived in the house that belonged with the garage. And that's how I got to know Larry and Sergey, the two founders of Google. So they were excited about this garage, even though you can see it wasn't very fancy, because it was a big upgrade from their dorm room. It included a washer and dryer and a hot tub in the back. And they were pretty excited about the hot tub and the washer and dryer. They had big aspirations. They had a sign that said Google's worldwide headquarters, even though they had 7 employees in the garage. And as you can see, they've come a long way since those days. So one of the things that's been true since Google first started, and this is a history of all the things that have happened since those garage days, is a commitment to innovation. We've developed a lot of products. Some of them have been successful. AdWords is an example of one that a lot of you here use, and our search products. And some of them have been less successful. But throughout it all, we've had a commitment to innovating, to trying new things, and trying to solve problems and building the best products we can. So one of the reasons that it's been so important for us to innovate is because the internet is moving so fast right now. So one of the things I'd like to show is if you look over time and see how long has it taken for users for 150 million users to adopt a technology, you can see that the internet is moving at record speed. It's moving faster than any technology in history has been adopted. So if we used print as an example, if we went all the way back to the printing press and to Gutenberg, it would be hundreds of years for it to be adopted. If we look at the telephone, it's 89 years to get to 150 million users. Television was 38. Cell phones were 14. The internet was less than 10. And Facebook, which is a popular social networking tool, has been less than 5 to get to 150 million users. So we feel at Google that the internet's moving so fast that if we're not innovating, we're not going to remain relevant, we're not going to be a leader in the space, and we need to do that. And part of the reason that innovation is so important for our culture is it's not something that you can say to your employees, OK, today, everybody, please be innovative. OK, we're going to spend more money, and we're going to be innovative. It just doesn't work that way. You have to build it into the culture, and people have to think about why innovation, think about how they can innovate, and know how the culture works to do that. The other reason it's so important for us to innovate is because the underlying technologies are changing so much. So just like Patrick talked about in his talk, with Moore's technology, with Moore's law, the technology is getting faster every 2 years. It's doubling. Bandwidth processing is doubling. And so things that we couldn't do are changing. They're available for us to happen now. We never thought there would be billions of connected computers, cloud computing, smartphones. All of those things are possible. And whenever there's any technical shift, there's an opportunity for change and for innovation. So what I'm going to share today are Google's 8 rules that we've used in our culture to try to innovate and try to keep our company fresh and trying new things. So the first thing that's been important to us has been to have a mission that matters. And our mission has been the same since the company first started, which is to organize the world's information to make it universally accessible and useful. It's a mission about information. Information matters. It can save lives, it can affect people, and we realize information is very powerful. So as our employees realize that, it becomes more than a job for them. It becomes an opportunity to really make a difference. So one example of that happened just after the Myanmar cyclone, where engineers realized on the maps team that there were not all of the maps available for the emergency supplies to get in. And so the 5 different offices got together, and in a couple of days, they were able to map 123,000 kilometers of roads, 2,400 cities, and 31,000 hospitals that was then used by the relief organizations to bring supplies into that group. So that's an example for our employees about how things matter. We also, when we do something new, we don't say, as a company, we don't say, oh, look, this company over there, they're doing this thing, and they're making a lot of money. Let's try to copy it. In fact, if we ever say, oh, we're just going to copy what someone else does, we know we're not going to be successful. Instead, what we try to do is we try to think about what are problems that need to be solved. What's an example of something that's in our life? What's an example of something that we see around us that isn't done as well as it could be done? And how can we make it better? So one very early example was Gmail. At the time, everyone in the company used client-based software. So I always had problems. My computer would crash. I would lose my email. I couldn't access it from home. I'd go on vacation. I couldn't get it. And there wasn't good search over the emails. And so we looked at that, and we thought, how can we try to do something innovative in this space? And that was the inspiration for us to develop Gmail, which has been very well adopted globally. So the second thing that we think about is think big, but start small. And the reason for that is it's important to start somewhere. So if you think, I want to do this one big project, and this project is huge, and there are these other companies, and they're gigantic, and there's just me and someone else who wants to do this project with me. If you think like that, you'll never actually be able to be successful. In fact, when I first met Larry and Sergey, it was hard to know what to think about them, because they would say, we're going to build a search engine, and it's going to be really good, and we're really excited about our technology, and can we rent your garage? And yeah, there are these other companies, and they're worth $25 billion, but yeah, we're going to compete with them. And so you can't think that way. Instead, you have to think about what's the first step that we're going to do, and how can we be successful? So one example that I like to think back to is books. It was referenced here a few times about how we now have 10 million books scanned. And we also have 600 partners in Japan. And we also have Keio University Library, which has a contract with us to do public scanning. So how did we start this project? People sometimes ask, how did you start scanning the world's books? I mean, there are a lot of books out there. How do you start? So I can tell you how we started that project. Larry was excited about the project. He wanted to scan the world's books. He literally said, the world's books. So the way he started was he went to the store himself. Larry's our founder. He bought a scanner. He put it in his office. He started cutting up the books, because you have to cut, well, there are 2 ways of scanning, but one way is cutting them up and putting them through the scanner. And he realized he could scan books, and then he started doing the math and said, well, this is how fast I scanned it. If I worked on it, maybe I could do it twice as fast. And then he calculated how many books in the world are there. And he said, I can do this. We can do this. And other people were interested in the project because he was successful. And so other engineers started coming in and saying, oh, what are you doing? And then people wanted to work on it. And that's how we started. And so we had an engineering team, and It took a little while to get more books and get a deal. It took a year or two to get a deal, but that's how things start. So it's important to start somewhere, and you often have to start small. So the next one that's related is continual innovation, not instant perfection. And this is the point here is that you can take lots of little steps, and together those little steps will add up to one big step. And if you think about trying to do it perfect, then you probably will never do it. The other thing that I often have had people at the company say to me, which is I've found to be true, is that when you launch a product, something will go wrong, and you don't know what it is until you launch it. So you could spend forever trying to guess what it is, but it would actually be faster and more accurate if you just launched the product earlier, even though it might not be 100% ready. So that's a rule that we use at Google to try to get products out early. So one example is AdWords, which I know a lot of you use. So AdWords, we did our first version of AdWords in 1999. The very first version we ran, and nobody clicked on the ads. Nobody saw them because the format didn't look very good. And we realized that we needed to change it. We didn't say, oh, we shouldn't be in the advertising business. Instead, we said, oh, we should change it. We should build it. So AdWords has been through many, many different iterations. In fact, AdWords, as probably a lot of you know, is an auction-based system. We didn't have auction-based systems in our ads for almost 3 or 4 years. So it took a while for us to develop AdWords as it is today. And we're not done. AdWords is going to change a lot, and there are a lot of things that we're working on. The other thing I'll say about doing lots and lots of little steps is that when you have something bad, you know that right away. And when you have something good, you also know that right away. So when we launched Google Video, we realized that it wasn't getting the traction that we wanted, but it was a really important space for us. And we started seeing that users were spending a lot of time with the user-generated video and uploading a lot of video. And that's what led us to buy YouTube, which today is the #1 video site. And when we launched AdSense, we got almost 1 publisher every minute signing up within the first day that we launched it. And we knew we had a product that was successful. So today, AdSense has 80% reach across global internet. It's the largest ad network globally. And we have hundreds of thousands of publishers and advertisers. So the next one is ideas come from everywhere. So ideas come from you. I would love to hear ideas. I hear ideas from the team. And I hear ideas from my team. And my team argues with me about what the right ideas are all the time. And I want them to argue with me about it because I want to get the best ideas. And we don't have time, because the market's moving so fast, to have the wrong idea because someone doesn't want to give their idea or because I don't want to listen to it. We used to have meetings at Google where people would get together and just talk about their ideas. And then we have an alias at Google now where everybody will write their ideas and give feedback on them. So it's very, very important that in a world that's changing so fast, people who have ideas or who want to share their ideas can. The other thing that's been important for us, too, is to get ideas globally. So we now have almost 70 offices. And Japan was the first office that we opened up back in 2001. And we really want to have people everywhere who can get the ideas and can give them back or incorporate them into the products in the different locations where we operate. We also think it's really important to share everything. So that's idea number 5 that we have. And that's because we want to enable our workforce and our engineers to understand. So one of the things that we do that's unusual is when our CEO and our management team has a board meeting, we send out the same letter that we send to the board to all of our employees. And then our CEO has a presentation to all of our employees, and anyone can ask a question. So it's a way for our employees to understand what's happening, understand why something is important, and to try to keep the company all thinking about the same things and understanding where we're going. The other thing we do with Share Everything is we also have designed our Google Apps, our Word, our document products to be online so that anyone can share those documents. I can share them with people in offices globally, and they're easy for me to add people, easy for them to see my changes, and it enables, and Google runs on our own applications. And so it's an easy way for us to share among our employees about what's important. We also think data is very important. For all of you who are advertisers, I'm sure you can see that we put a lot of effort to make sure that AdWords is trackable, that you get the stats, and we know our advertisers optimize on that. But with so many different ideas, we need to be able to look at them and actually measure them and see which ones are working and which ones are not working. And sometimes what people tell us, so if we go and we ask people, well, what's important to you? What they say isn't really representative of what they do. So one example of that is we asked users, how many search results would you like? 10, 20, 30? And people said, we'd like 30. We'd like more. So then we actually tried it. And it turned out people didn't really want 30. They want 10. Because it turned out that if you have 10, it's faster. And people felt like most of the time the result was in the first 10 anyway. So the next, the guidance number 7 that we have is 20% time. So our employees are able to spend 20% of their time, 1 day a week, working on projects that they choose. And the reason to do that is to have a bit of a portfolio of things that we're working on, so that 80% of the time of the company is spent on the core business, but 10% is spent on, or 20% is spent on new areas where people can vote with their time on what they want to work on. And we've had a lot of good projects that have come out of the 20% time. So one of them is Google Suggests, which is if you type in a character or a letter into Google, Google will start to suggest different things that you should search on. And this has been really useful in Japanese, where it's a lot of keystrokes to enter different words. And it's now been rolled out globally. It's on all of our products. But it's something that came from an engineer who worked on his 20% time, and then was able to prove this is an important concept. And from there, he was able to build a product and a team and launch it globally. So the last one I'll say is to be a platform. So even if you are the most innovative company in the world and you develop everything, the world's a really big place, and there are a lot of ideas and a lot of people who want to contribute. So we've tried to design our products so that developers and people everywhere can build or add on to our products. So one example of that is our Google Maps product, where anyone can add a layer of information, and we're going to show you some of that today. So for example, transit information, which is specific to lots of different countries, any engineering team can add that onto the Google Maps with a specific layer. And that's a way we are the underlying technology, and people can add on top of it. Also with Android and on the iPhone, there are now thousands, hundreds of thousands of applications that you can download. And that's been very, very popular among users. But it's through many, many people using the platform and the systems to add on to the underlying product that makes the product more useful. And so as much as possible, we try to make our products available for developers to work on. So I'd like to turn and introduce Ken Tokosai. Ken leads our product management at Google. Yep. And Ken is going to show a few demos of some of the products that we've been working on.
Thank you, Susan.
The first one he's going to show is Google Maps. So Google Maps, I'm sure a lot of you have seen Google Maps. But one of the things we're trying to do with Google Maps that we think is unique is not just show map information, but try to incorporate a lot of information onto the map, like reviews, business listings, transit information, street view. How can everything be integrated into a map so that if you're in a specific location, you can get everything at once? And so Ken is going to show some of the ideas that we're going with here.
Thank you. Google Japan の製品開発
My name is Ken Tokusei, product in charge of product. I would like to show a demonstration from Google Japan. Please change the camera. Google Map is a map product which many of the Japanese may have access to. So information on maps is something that is well understood, but within Google Map, not only map information, but there are business listing and store, retail information, users review, and the route transit information, aerial photo, and street view. Many different type of map informations are accumulated within Google Maps host, but the users, depending on the size and complexity, without being aware of that, they will be able to utilize this seamlessly. And let me give you a list of how this could be utilized as a form of a use case. This is, we're trying to get the maps out. Let me try once again. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So this is a map of Shibuya where we are. Let's think about lunch. We're a little hungry. Let's go and get some ramen. Well, it's Shibuya Station. From here, you can search for what you want as an information. For instance, noodles, Chinese noodles. Well, Chinese noodles, the listing of a restaurant in terms of not only address and phone number, but the location on the map. So depending on where you are, which is the closest, you will be able to understand that in comprehensive manner. For instance, we don't have a good connectivity here.
もう貼っときますか。郵便の方どうでしょうか。
Do you think this is working okay now? Okay, thank you.
ください。
Please give me a minute.
パソコン買いありますけれども。
This is what makes live demos exciting.
We can just switch it on the computer actually. そっち出しましょうかね。はい。パソコンのせいでもケーブルがそれかちょっとわかんないですけども。
Let me try changing the computer.
はい、ちょっとやってみますね。お、出ました。
There it is. It's up.
はい。では一瞬焦った瞬間でしたが続けさせていただきます。こちらはラーメンのですね。
This is a Chinese noodle. We're getting really hungry, and within the listing, so Thailand noodle. This is close to the station. It looks good. So let's probe in to this restaurant, and then on this page, you see some of the pictures from the users, some of the partner contributed information, and also user reviews, and the relative web page would be given to you all at once. So you'll be able to make judgment of this restaurant. For Japanese, visual is very important. Where is it located? How does it look in the facade of the store? The street view is going to be very effective for that purpose. Clicking this, you know you can have the zoom visual of this facade of this restaurant. Okay, this is the size of the restaurant, so surrounding is as such, so you'll be able to understand and orient yourself in terms of whether retail or where the restaurant is. So okay, we made a decision. So this is a local search, and then we say that, well, the weather is not too nice today, but let's say the weather is nice. Let's go to Tokyo Tower. So you can search for the routes. For starting here for the routes to Tokyo Tower, you insert Tokyo Tower. I don't know where the closest stations are for Tokyo Tower. So Google Maps will find out for you. When you're taking a train or subway, automatically they will search that and show you or advise you with the best route possible. Like living in Tokyo, you don't know where these train or subway lines are leading you or routing. So it seems as though this is a far way, not a direct sort of straightforward way. Maybe it's quicker to take a cab. So okay, let's take a cab or drive, and then instantaneously you get the route that is straight to Tokyo Tower. 18 minutes, still have time. So it seems to be a big park here. Why don't you take a rest or have a walk in the park, and automatically 23 minutes. So it has changed the fact that you're going to stop by at the park. So you'll be able to make this adjustment. So local search and transit and restaurant information, and also route search is also could be done on a seamless manner. So behind it, there is a numerous information on maps and routes and transit, but without understanding the complexity, you'll be able to make best use of this information. So this is on PC, but same thing could be done on mobile as well. Well, my time is limited, so therefore I would like to be very brief in terms of showing you how it works. Could you switch the camera to this handheld camera? This is map information, same route searching. As you see, information. I don't carry around PC with me, only with your mobile handset. It will tell you how you need to take your routes. So those areas which looks a little confusing. Maybe you're driving, you may miss this corner. So I don't want to use the map while I'm driving. So when you press hard for this instruction button, it turns on to the street view. It might take a little time, I'm sorry, but before you drive, you can sort of grasp the image beforehand, and then it will give you a good insight of where you're going. So without, there is a magnetic compass. So you can see with the movement of the mobile, you'll be able to have a 360 degrees view. So when you're turning, okay, you're going to turn under this highway, and you'll be able to understand whereabouts you need to be prepared for turning. So this is how you're going to utilize this. So Google Maps. When you are going out on a business trip or for pleasure, please utilize Google Maps. So thank you.
So the second demo that we want to show you involves YouTube and video ads. YouTube, as I'm sure all of you know, has a lot of video on it. And advertisers want to be able to choose which video they want to be on. So we've created a tool where you can go shopping for videos and decide which ones you want to have your ad on. And Ken is going to show that to you now.
ご存知の通り YouTube おかげさまで、
Well, thank you very much. YouTube has been very popular. It has a massive amount of videos. So what video needs to be targeted? Maybe in terms of a census, you may understand, but you'll not be able to explain that in detail. So although you may not know about what is running on YouTube, we have a special tools that will able to make you the judgment. Only in English at the moment, but it's going to be in multiple language. Video targeting tool is a name of a tool. The advertisers like bike, hard cap, helmets. I'm not interested myself in bike, but it looked interesting in terms of the video, so I decided to theme. I have 3 years old, so my wife does not allow me to play around with this bike races, but so okay, I have to work around this while I'm telling the story. And motorcycle. So searching on the motorcycle, there are a lot of videos, as you see. Okay. So why don't you probe into this, and then you get the overall information on this. It's YouTube, so you can skip. Oh, okay, motorbike. Okay, it's a video introducing the bike, and then it looks interesting. So putting it in my shopping cart, and you can do video targeting. So on this demo, okay, why don't you put everything in the shopping cart? Then in Japan, how much is being viewed is the impression is that every one of them is viewed by 1,000 times a day. So different types and the verticals also could be selected. So this is video tagged information. The information that we could crawl automatically. This is generated. Publishers do not have to do manual kind of work. It's automatically classified. So motorcycle, this also will be relevant information. As you can see within YouTube, the categorized video would also be shown. Again, why don't we add this into my shopping cart? And with this, what media plan would it come out with? Clicking this based on the video list, as you see. And of course, you can print this and submit to the video planner, or CSV, Excel file could be utilized so that the media planner could read into this. So many of the customers who are utilizing this to advise is another button. Automatically, there will be a campaign that will be created for you. So YouTube is a very popular medium, but has a numerous amount of video. And with that, the advertisement which you are interested in launching your ad could effectively be targeted.
The thing that Ken is going to demonstrate for us is speech to text on YouTube, so that sometimes people see it or hear it, but they can't understand it, and they want to have subtitles, or it's in a language that they don't understand. So we've been working on our speech to text translation. It's an example of where we did the continuous innovation, because we started with a telephone product, and to do speech to text well, you need a lot of data. It's a very hard statistical, mathematical problem to get it right. And so we're getting better and better, and now we can do it for videos on YouTube, and that's what Ken is going to demonstrate. And we think by doing it, we can bring a lot of benefits. So the hearing impaired can see videos, it can be translated into lots of different languages, and it can be easier for people to understand it who are not native English speakers or not native of the language of the video.
Alright. こちら弊社の CEO エリック・シュミットの社内外
This is Mr. Eric Schmidt's speech event. Please take a look.
With us to talk about the thing I like the most, which is programming.
まあ弊社の社長結構
So our president is very articulate, but of course those people who have a hearing impaired problem, it's hard. At the same time, for Japanese, you can read them, but you cannot hear them. Many people may have a similar barriers or problems with English. So looking at it in letters and text, it helps you a lot. So as Susan mentioned, the speech will be changed into converted into text. So with the 20 hours in 1 second, the massive amount of video will be enabled to do so. Of course, we have professionals for speech expert, but I think the most effective tool for them is that index size and query, which accounts to 100 billion. And so on these basis, they were able to come up with a language model. And based on this language model, they will be able to come up with, within the non-formal grammatical speech, how are you going to convert that into text? So this is the technology that I'm talking about, and I'm clicking on speech-to-text conversion. It's not always 100% correct. So there is some notes or alerts to say that.
Of the amazing opportunity that is before us. And that's what I want to talk about for just a few minutes.
ということで、まあほとんど
So it's very close in this case. About 99% accuracy. You can read visually the text, not only to the fact that you understand, but those people who are hearing impaired or doesn't understand the language, is not a native in this language, and those people who are wanting to see the video, and without the sound, you want to maybe enjoy a video. It's very useful. But being understand the video. This is not where we are satisfied with. So transcription is going to be added to the video, meaning that the video that you are searching for could be searched instantaneously. Maybe you'll be able to run the very head point or introduction point of the video. There are some subtitles that are attached to the video, but to do that manually, it takes time. But video contents could be more effectively utilized with this speech-to-text conversion. So these are the 3 demonstrations that I've shown you, but I hope that you would look forward to the further Google innovations. So please, Susan, the mic is yours.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. So I'd like to wrap up with a few final thoughts. So one of the things is technology and the changes in technology have changed all of our lives and changed this woman's life and lots of other people's lives in ways we could not have anticipated. So this woman is a Kenyan who has a cell phone, who uses it as a mobile banking account. And when cell phone technology came out, I don't think anyone thought that it would be used for mobile banking in the poorest of countries where people didn't even have bank accounts. But yet it is. And there are more than 8 million Africans who are too poor to have bank accounts, but yet they have cell phones and they buy things with cell phone mobile minutes. So that's something called M-Pesa. It's improved a lot of people's lives. There's more economic prosperity if you can have a bank account, if you can save money, if you can trade. And it's something we couldn't have imagined would have happened, but it did. So I'll leave you with my final thought, which is believe in the impossible and it can become true. So if you had asked someone in the early 90s whether or not they thought there would be billions of connected computers, they would have said it would have been impossible. In fact, the more technical that person was, and the more knowledgeable, and the more that person was an expert, the more they would have told you it would never happen. Because the state of the art at the time was 1,000 connected. But the internet happened, and there are billions of connections today. So something that we didn't think would happen did happen, again. And with the technology improvements, the doubling of processing capabilities every 18 months to 2 years, with 100%, with 100 times improvement over 10 years, a lot of things are going to change. So we live in a special time where there's a lot of opportunity for change, and we're very pleased to be part of that change and part of that transformation. So thank you for inviting me here to talk. It was a pleasure to be here.